Hey everybody, welcome back. Tonight I have a very special video because it's one requested of me by one of my patrons, Mr. Warpbait. Video that I've owed him for some time. Thanks for your support, man. You're an awesome guy. And what he wanted me to do was this kind of weird personal challenge. He's like, Miasma, I know you're a Yu-Gi-Oh fan. In fact, I've played Yu-Gi-Oh with Warp before. And he was like, I want you to go through every season of the Yu-Gi-Oh anime and watch a little bit of it and give me your thoughts. So what I'm planning to do here is what I was calling the Great Yu-Gi-Oh anime experiment. Um, is I watched either 2 or 3 episodes of each season, depending on how much I was into it. Not the newest one. I haven't seen anything of Sevens. I forget if it's even out yet, but basically seasons 1 through 6. So, excuse me, Dual Monsters through Vrains. I've at least seen the first like 2 episodes or so of each one, and I wanted to rank them. And going into it, like little background, I love Yu-Gi-Oh, the physical card game. Can't really play it right now with all of the virus stuff going on. But I have a whole video about this where it's like an on and off love with me in the game. I'll leave it for like years, come back to it, play it. I now play it like the most competitively I've ever have. Really, I go to regionals when I can and stuff like that. But it's a game I really really enjoy. The anime I liked much better when I was younger. Kind of got off of it. I watched a lot of Dual Monsters when it aired, as a lot of people of like my age did. Uh, I was really into GX when that came out. I watched a good chunk of that, never finished it, and that was really when I got off the Yu-Gi-Oh train in terms of like anime. I've seen some random episodes of 5Ds at some point, and I think some random Arc V episodes, but never from the start. And never really enough to really base an opinion on them. But I was super into GX and super into the original series. But yeah, and so going into this, I sort of had an expectation that after doing this, I thought this was a cool thing to do because my opinion on these has altered somewhat. So we're gonna go from what I think is the lamest or like the worst or just what I was not very much impressed by to the best. And this is sort of it's kind of hard to not be biased here because I did grow up watching some of the anime in the past. But I tried to base it solely off of like, is it an entertaining anime? Like, is it something that I would want to continue watching? Spoiler alert: none of these are something I would ever want to watch the whole thing. I think as a whole, Yu-Gi-Oh as an anime is kind of repetitive and really goofy at times, and just sort of all over the place. But kind of like me. But yeah, so the one that I thought was the least interesting or just sort of annoying in terms of its characters and I think sort of uh, what's going on in the show was Zexal or Zial. This one is they're pushing Exceeds in this one, which was an okay summoning mechanic. A lot of people argue this is like the downfall of Yu-Gi-Oh or whatever. People are gonna say that for everything that Yu-Gi-Oh ever does, so you might hear that phrase again. I don't think so. I think Exceeds are kind of cool. Um, Personally, I've never been a big extra deck summoner to begin with. I like very simple kind of control decks. Um, but in terms of the anime, I did not think that this was going to be the one that I liked the least, but I really did not like the main character. I mean, I understand he's supposed to be like the underdog kind of guy, but because he kind of sucks, he's not like the best duelist right away at the beginning, and it just seems I don't know. I couldn't really attach myself to him. He just seems kind of annoying. I really don't like his character design, which is another phrase that you're going to hear later on in this video. I don't like how it's sort of just like a retrain of stuff that they've already done in the Yu-Gi-Oh anime with, in the original one and in Duel Monsters, it was, the Pharaoh spirit guy, like Yugi was given this Millennium Puzzle thing, and it's his connection to this like mystical realm sort of deal. In this one, like the main guy, I'm sorry, I forget his name. They all begin with you something. Um, is this Yuma? Someone's gonna kill me in the comment section if it's not Yuma. Zexo guy. Uh, he has this connection to this like spectral force being sort of dude, and they have to find these like number cards, and he duels this like shark dude. But it just seems like a daunting. Like I kind of like the idea of like you're setting up this like long running task. It reminded me a little bit of like I love Inuyasha, and you have to like find all the jewel shards in that show, but at the same time, I don't know. I think Yu-Gi-Oh is kind of better when they're like joining tournaments or fighting some force or something like that. Which I mean, I'm sure they are in this series, but it just seems like finding all the number cards is not that cool. I don't know, man. And it just seems like a whole retrain of stuff that they already did. I feel like it's just stuff that they already did, just worse, with a worse main character. The Yugi is way more interesting than this guy. The Pharaoh is way cooler than the spiky haired ghost dude, whatever the hell his name was. I'm sorry. Lots too much Yu-Gi-Oh anime. I'm gonna mix up names, and I'd rather just refer to them as the guy if I don't remember their name. Um, and so yeah, Zexo for these reasons I thought was the least impressive. Again, that's after just 3 episodes of this one. Uh, but yeah, wasn't really that into it. This one I was almost equally offended by, but liked it a little bit more. Was Arc 5, whatever. This is the Pendulum one. First of all, okay, if I'm gonna praise anything about Zexel, or Zeal, whatever, at least the character I think had a slightly better design than this dude, this green hair, Christmas tree looking circus guy. Oh my god, I hate his character design, but I like his anime a little more. I like him as a character a little more than the guy in the previous in Zeal. Uh, this guy, you get the feeling that he wants to be like a performer more than just like a duelist, which is kind of cool. And there's like his dad, and I don't like pendulum summoning at all, but that's sort of like a bias maybe against the show. But because that's the main mechanic of this one. But yeah, I kind of felt like I thought that the character was slightly cooler than the guy in Zeal, and at least it wasn't like a straight like retrain. But again, while I thought that it was interesting that he's interested in being like the performer aspect of being a duelist, there weren't any other characters I gave a shit about in this one. Like I don't know, I don't really remember any of the side people, but I don't know. I don't think it would be super entertaining to continue, and that's why I definitely stopped this at 3 episodes. Very slightly ahead of Zeal, because I find this guy slightly less annoying, but it's really not a battle that you should be winning. And again, I think its only like redeeming factor is I enjoy how dueling is like looked at a little bit differently in this one. But you could say that for all of them, but I don't know. I like this one a little better, and that was my preference. All right, sort of like middle of the road here, third from the bottom, and this really these bottom three could be sort of interchangeable, but I think this one's a little better, and that's Vrains. This is I think the most recent one before Sevens, which might be airing right now. I think. This one introduces Link summoning. And they're really into showcasing Link summoning. They are really about Link summoning. They really want you to know about Link summoning in this one. Again, character designs are terrible. And all over the place. Like, I like how as Yu-Gi-Oh! Has progressed, like, we've gotten to the point of, like, now they're using avatars that also look ridiculous, but in real life they also look pretty weird. This one's like a whole cyberspace kind of deal. There's like hackers and stuff like that, and I mean, I like me some Altergeist. So there's like that's where that's the anime that that archetype takes place in. And I mean, I've been spoiled to some of this stuff like down the line. That of some of the stuff that they do. This first, I don't remember if I did two. I either did two or three of this one, and slightly more entertained visually. Of course, it's a much newer anime than the previous two. The character designs, while ridiculous, I found them slightly more tolerable than Arc V and I'm sorry, Arc V and Zial. Uh, the main guy, kind of forgettable, but not nearly as annoying. He what I liked is he lacks the annoying factor that the two annoying kids in Arc V and Zial had. Um, is he the coolest anime character to exist? No. The enemies that like this like weird like hacker-esque group or whatever, I forget what their name is. They're the Knights of something or something. Uh, but I don't know. They did not really impress me, and I'm a guy who appreciates a good villain. But the show did not offend me nearly as much as the other two, so I put it as my middle ground. I kind of like link summoning too, in terms of as a mechanic. They really push it in the show, like I said, and visually, I think it's probably like the best looking Yu-Gi-Oh series. Not that that's also not something to really brag about, because none of these have like crazy good animation. I suppose you could argue in Zial when they are doing the Exceed summoning, it did look pretty cool. I forgot to mention that. But yeah, Vrains I'd say is middle of the road in terms of Yu-Gi-Oh anime. Now we get to where I'm surprised in this. I originally thought that this was going to be my number one, but it is not. This is the Yu-Gi-Oh series that I've definitely seen the most episodes of. Pretty sure I've seen probably 100 episodes of this. The original Duel Monsters. Looking back on it, it is a lot cornier and just more bizarre than I remember. I always knew that there were memes in the show, like Attack the Moon and Weevil throwing the only copies of Exodia into the water, and Kaiba being Kaiba, and it's funnily ridiculous at times. But the first three episodes are certainly not that entertaining, especially as an older viewer. Maybe when I was younger, I thought this was really cool when Yugi duels Kaiba and obliterates him with Exodia or whatever. But that's preceded by this whole stupid thing with the Blue Eyes cards and his Yugi's dumb grandpa, and then it shows some dueling on TV, which is kind of cool with Rex and Weevil. Of course, nobody ever follows the rules in any of these, by the way. But then we get Pegasus sucking people into TVs, which is I always liked Pegasus. I thought it was cool. But they do some weird stuff, like shoving people into Yu-Gi-Oh cards, into 3D people into two-dimensional planes, is pretty odd. Granted, there was the other one that was about virtual reality dueling, but at least that's way more plausible, I guess. I don't know. It's just nostalgic for sure. I could see why people might think that this is the best one, but I think out of straight comparison to the two that I have ahead of this, I think that this is just a slightly less entertaining anime, in my opinion. I think that I would rather watch episodes of the other ones in terms of trying to get a better anime experience. But if I'm going for laughs, I'll probably go with this one because it does have a lot of funny memes and stuff going on, and of course it has the Great Abridged, which is a whole nother thing. But second to the top is one that I expected to be second to the top to begin with. And it's going to give away what number one is. But I put, kids in the school, getting back to whatever it is in the schoolyard. I butchered that. Whatever. Yu-Gi-Oh! GX is number two for me. I thought this was going to be number two behind Duel Monsters. But no. GX, still two, I think. I think still I had some nostalgia glasses with this one, but I still see where it's also pretty corny. I think that this is the it'd be kind of hard. This and 5Ds, which is going to be number one. I kind of go back and forth in my head on what I think is like the best character designs, because I like the character designs in GX. I think for the most part, besides like Crowler or Crowley, whatever his name is, the principal guy, I think everybody looks like a somewhat normal anime character. They don't people don't look like too ridiculous. I love the school aspect of it. When I was a teenager or like a preteen, whenever this was first airing, I thought it would be so cool to go to a Yu-Gi-Oh school. And I remember watching this like every day growing up. Going back and watching the first three episodes, it's entertaining. I like the duels that go on. Jaden is, again, I watched it in the dub too, by the way, so maybe if that's a mistake, I'm sorry, but Jaden's a little annoying in the dub, but he's still much better than some other Yu-Gi-Oh characters we've had. Cyrus is kind of a baby, and Chaz is Chaz, but I don't know. I like it. It has the fusion mechanic going on, which is what it is. I mean, he's got elemental heroes going all over the place. Jaden's deck seems to change. When I remember watching the show, his deck changes like a bajillion. He gets like 9 million hero cards. Like his deck seems like it's like 700 cards deep. But I don't know. I like him. Alexis Rhodes, pretty interesting character herself. I like the dynamic of the school and like the different sort of like levels and stuff like that. Red, yellow, and blue and shit. And yeah, I thought it was cool. Definitely, like I think it would make a pretty interesting anime if it. I know it probably gets pretty ridiculous because it is Yu-Gi-Oh, but it least it felt a little less ridiculous than the original DM. So for those reasons, I have it just a little above DM. And the best, and this was the shocker to me, I did not think I'd have 5Ds at number one. I had never seen. I might have. I think I saw like one or two episodes of 5Ds years ago. I never really went back. I have a 5Ds video game that is pretty good. But I always thought that it was. I didn't really pay attention to any of the aspects of the story or anything because I kind of just saw card games on motorcycles and I thought it was really stupid. And it is stupid. Card games on motorcycles is really dumb. But I like the aspect of the rivalry, of the like something happened between Jack and Yusei wherever in the past, and like you're anxious to see like where that goes, and there's this dichotomy of people that live in the satellite versus the like higher class people, everybody else. People struggling to survive and get by and try and climb this ladder. And I thought that was interesting. I like synchros. I think they're pretty cool. Yusei's character, he's kind of like, kind of has that like same face all the time, but I think he's a likable guy. I think he stands up for his friends. I feel like he wants to do what's right. I feel like he has ambitions in life. Jack is pretty nuts as like an antagonist, but I don't think that it's too ridiculous. I think he sort of, he meets my expectations as an antagonist in a Yu-Gi-Oh show. So that is what it is. His hair is always going 700 miles an hour. I don't know what's going on with that. But at least it's far better than some of the character designs that we had in ZL or Arc V and stuff like that. So I like that better. These early episodes, pretty entertaining. Would I go back and watch the rest of the series? I doubt it. But it seems like, out of all of them, it seems like the most entertaining from an anime series perspective. Especially one that contains, Yu-Gi-Oh! Dueling in it. I think it impressed me a lot. I thought that Duel Monsters was going to be number top, GX number 2, and then get it to figure out the rest of them. But this one, surprisingly, I consider 5Ds to be the highest quality of Yu-Gi-Oh anime series from the very little that I saw. So if you agree with me or disagree with me, please let me know down below. Thank you, Warp, for this wonderful topic. Yeah, let me know what you guys' favorite and least favorite Yu-Gi-Oh series are. Also, let me know what your favorite individual Yu-Gi-Oh cards are, because that might be a video coming up in the future. Yeah, if you guys like what I'm doing here, please check out the Patreon link down below. Thank you to everybody that supports me so much. And thanks for watching. My name is Miasma, and I'll see you next time.